All right, so last night my wife and I we went and we watched Raya the Last Dragon, which is Disney's addition to the animated princess movie lineup. Which I think it's fair to say that that's like a genre at this point. I think everyone knows what I'm saying when I say that, just because you have Disney's animated movies, then you have Disney and Pixar's animated movies, and then you have their animated princess movies. I think the last one to have come out might have been Moana. I could be wrong. I really don't keep up with these that much, and they usually do a good job. There's definitely some classics we have from Disney that exist from this lineup. I think I Heed Tangle is a great one. I think Moana is as well. I've seen all of them as far as I'm aware. And it just so happened that this movie was playing at our local theater, which is fortunate because I know a lot of people are not in that condition to be able to do that. For those who aren't, it is streaming on Disney Plus now. If you want to pay $100,000 in order to be able to watch an hour and a half movie, that's great, good for you. But we went and we watched this. Now, going into this movie, I want to preface everything I'm going to say here by saying I had no expectations. I had no high expectations, no low expectations. This is one of the few situations that a Disney movie was dropping that I knew such little about. Now, yeah, I'm just going to have to spit it out. This movie was not good. And I realize that kind of starting the review off with that will probably get a lot of people hopping off this or hitting the thumbs down button or throwing hate comments in the comments. And if you disagree with me, please make sure to harass me in the comments. It's a good way to take it out. But, oh my goodness. Wow, this movie was a whole new level of disappointing on a level that I didn't think could be, just because I had no expectations. Usually the definition of disappointment comes from expecting something. I didn't think I could be disappointed from a movie I expected nothing from. But I think we should start off. I want to end on a more of a positive note, and we'll go from there. This movie was so cut and dry, copy paste every other Disney princess movie I have ever seen in my life. Ever. I'm getting a notification on my watch. Wow, it hurt me to watch. The opening scenes of the movie had some of the cheesiest, most overused dialogue, and I know that that's supposed to be the point sometimes that there's a purpose to that, but here it wasn't. It was completely unironic. It was completely seemingly unintentional, as if it was supposed to be pulled off as something new. Like the whole thing, you open the movie, you're introduced to the new princess who is heir to some throne. What's the twist this time? It's that she's Asian, which I'm sorry, in my opinion, that shouldn't be the twist or the purpose of a movie. The same way that, in Moana, I wouldn't give it a free pass just because it's a movie focusing on Polynesians. That doesn't justify a movie's existence. And although I think it's fantastic that they're showing diversity and that they're spreading out and showing different cultures, that's really fun to see. They just felt like there was nothing done with it. And I'll get to that a little bit later. But you're introduced to the princess. That's the twist here. And big surprise, you're introduced to her new cute pet little sidekick animal. This time it's Tuk Tuk. What's the twist on that? It's actually a big Tuk Tuk. And that's about the furthest we get there. Okay, we introduced to a kind, loving father. He dies. Wow, big surprise. I would have never guessed that the parent would have died, but kind of not really. And then, because of that, she has to set on some big adventure to do something that nobody thinks that she can do, defying all odds in order to save everybody and everything. And wow, they come across a conflict. And here's the great part. They run into the legendary dragon. And I'd be lying if I told you I can remember the dragon's name. That's about how forgettable all this was. But, they're introduced to this dragon. And what's the big surprise here? You're not going to believe this. You're not going to believe it. But this legendary dragon who saved them all, hold your britches onto you. She's actually not that legendary. She's kind of the outcast, and she's super nerdy, and she kind of screws things up. Wow. I mean, you got me there. I would have never seen that coming. I thought we were going to meet this legendary dragon who supposedly saved everybody, and she was going to be all-knowing and wise and guide them through the journey. I mean, knowing Disney, that's what it had to be, right? No. I mean, obviously, that's what we saw coming. It's a rehash of something like Mulan, where, I mean, you're introduced to the little guy, the little dragon. I'm super uneducated. I don't know his name. And And wow, he's just a screw up compared to his siblings. This is the same exact rehash. Every princess movie, you're introduced to the group, right? The group of people that's with them. Sometimes it's smaller than others. In ones like Tangled, you have Rapunzel, who has Flynn Rider, and then the horse with her, and that's kind of their little clan. And some people come and go as that happens. In this movie, the clan is so weird. It's just so strange. I don't understand what went into their process to make this happen. And a lot of people are going to argue that this was super cute, that it worked really well. And to me, it just didn't. It didn't work. The group, if I remember correctly, consisted of, Princess Raya, and then the dragon Sisu. I think that's the name of the dragon, who's super quirky and weird and stuff. And then it's this young boy whose parents have passed away from these big dark things called the runes. And his way of coping with it is basically to make his own little restaurant. And it's really cute and stuff, but it's him. And then it's this big tough guy who's the leader of one of the other tribes. And then it's a baby, a little thief baby with her 3 monkeys. And I don't mean like a young child, 6 or 7. It's an actual baby, an infant baby. And I see what they were trying to do. It didn't work for me. It just did not work. Wow. The baby had a baby voice where it would talk and do things and and it didn't work. It was not cute. It actually really was distracting for me. It felt like an adult talking into a microphone and pitched to a different tone. It just, I don't know. Maybe I'm missing something about this movie. But I think what upsets me the most about this movie, it's not that it was a dud or that it had nothing special to bring to the table or that it felt so rehashed. We have Hollywood movies that do that every day. You could argue half a dozen have come out just this year that have done that. My issue is people's reaction to it. If we just go to RottenTomatoes.com right now, right? If we just go there and we just take a look, we're seeing reviews that really are emphasizing how original this movie is. And there's some that are acknowledging that it's pretty cut and dry, formulaic. But it seems to be this weird thing that it's fresh and unique. And I think that's probably what gets on my nerves, is that people have this perception that they've been tricked and duped, that this movie is anything besides an absolute copy-paste of everything that every Disney movie has done before. My wife, she's not that of a movie critic or what, like you could argue I am, but even she walked out of that and just we forgot about it almost instantly. We're like, what did that have to offer? What did I just watch that I haven't seen a million times before? Everything is it's just so cringy. I don't understand. And I know that people in the comments are going to try and get me to understand. Heaven forbid, my controversial opinion on Tenet got a little bit of outrage, probably my most disliked video on this channel. And you know what? I'm prepared to take some slap from this as well. Because I just can't back down from my opinion of what's going on here. It was just an absolute flushable movie in the sense where this was so disposable. In any other media, with any other companies or Hollywood companies in the world, if you even make a good thing and then start repeating that for a sequel, people get really upset because everyone can agree that even something good done multiple times will ruin that good thing. I think a good example of that is in Star Wars. One of the reasons that a lot of people dislike The Force Awakens, which I personally liked, I thought was a good movie by J.J. Abrams, but a lot of people really criticized it because it was just a rehash of a previous Star Wars movie, like plot for plot. New Death Star, new characters that represent old characters, new Darth Vader, just going and going and going, the same rehash. That was a lot of people's critique with that. And then it sounds like those same people seem to turn around and say, this is so original and beautiful. The thing is, it's not. It's not. We've seen this before. And everything we see in Raya and the Last Dragon, I could have pulled the exact same value, emotion, and beautiful animation from Moana or from Tangled or from virtually every other Disney animated movie, princess or not. I feel like this movie was made like how white people think Asians live. I don't know if that makes any sense. And I know that this representation of Raya and the Last Dragon is not supposed to represent any specific real place, but we know that it's an Asian-focused movie. And the whole movie felt like this joke that could be on Vine or on TikTok of like what white people think Asian lives are like. And so it just felt like really disingenuous, really insincere. The interactions, the conversations, even between like daughter and father, it represents absolutely nothing I've ever seen or heard of from personal friends who have lived in that culture, let alone, what they actually live in themselves. Hey, you know something I did appreciate about this movie, though? I need to give it some credit. It didn't break out in song and dance once.
If you start singing, I'm going to throw up.
Like, it's a Disney princess movie, and it didn't break out in song and dance once. There wasn't a single song. It was not a musical. And by golly, by gosh, was that a blessing and a half to me? I couldn't agree with that more. I love that. In my opinion, I mean, for one thing, I think the music was very good, which I think actually threw me off guard because it was by James Newton Howard. I think that's the name. The music was by him, and normally I know him for putting out very mediocre music, but it actually stood out as something pretty unique in this movie. Another thing that I thought was pretty sweet about the movie was the runes, which is these big purple blobbing spheres and messes of black matter that just turn everything it crosses into stone. I thought that was fantastic. I thought that was really cool. So yeah, was it the worst movie in the world? No. I think it was largely very unoffensive to the mind, to the eye, and I think that's maybe what got me on such a bad nerve. It just felt so rehashed. And it pains me to see people and critics claiming this as original, because when you do that, you are the ones empowering Disney to re-copy and paste the exact same story they have 1,000 times. And now they think that they can do it and people will call it original. And that hurts me because I love Disney. I love what they do. Sometimes they just don't hit a right chord, and this was not that right chord. But hey, make sure to go to your local Disney shop and pick up a new stuffed animal representation of Tuk Tuk, because we all know that's coming. Other than that, thank you guys for tuning in. Make sure to subscribe if you're interested in future videos. Make sure to smash that dislike button, because I know that nobody's going to agree with my opinion here. But hey, if you did enjoy the movie, let me know, because I'd love to hear what you enjoyed about it and why my opinion is trash. But yeah, that's it. Later, guys.